Welcome to the New Pacific Metals presenting the preliminary economic assessment for the Silver Sand Project. As a reminder, all participants are in listen-only mode and the conference is being recorded. After the presentation, there will be an opportunity to ask questions. To join the question queue, you may press star, then 1 on your telephone keypad. Should you need assistance during the conference call, you may signal an operator by pressing star, then 0. I would now like to turn the conference over to Dr. Feng, founder, CEO, and director, who will be joining us from Bolivia. Please go ahead.
Thank you, operator, and welcome everyone to our New Pacific conference call to review the result of PEA for the Silver Sand Project in Bolivia. Before we begin, I would like to remind you that we will be making forward-looking statements during the call. Please refer to the cautionary statement included in the corporate presentation and the news release. Our news release details the highlight of Silver Sand PEA study. You can find a copy of this news release on our website. It has been filed on SED and EDGAR. Okay, today marks an important milestone as we continue to advance the Silver Sand Project and other projects in Bolivia. And the PEA study demonstrates that the silver sand can be developed into one of the world's largest silver mine with long mine life and high profit margins. Its development will bring economic benefit to all stakeholders, including the community in Bolivia and also shareholders of New Pacific. We are very pleased with the results. And given the robust economic parameter of the project, it has room to accommodate any inflation pressure in capital costs or operating costs or some area we may have overlooked. We're looking forward to add value to the project by completing a more detailed pre-feasibility study and also advance the project by obtaining required permit for mining development. Okay, before we get in more detail, I'd like to thank our our Silver Sand team, our independent consultant, and our Bolivia partners, who had worked extremely hard to deliver these high-quality studies. We now look at we have a PPT presentation. Just quickly a review, a little bit history. In total, 136,000 meters diamond drilling, 551 holes were drilled from 2017 and 2022, which formed the base for mineral resource estimate in 2019 and 2022. From this slide, you can see the right boundary outline at the main pit, the green dot are the drill holes. And okay, next slide. So this is just a quick review of two mineral resources of 2021 and 2022. The most important thing for the 2022 is we have almost 95% of resource in measured and the indicated category, which has almost 200 million ounces of silver with 116 grams head grade. So this is a big thing because looking forward for our PFS study, we would able to convert all the measured indicated resource into reserve. Okay, both was completed by AMC from Vancouver. Next slide. So PEA contributors are including following like independent engineering consulting firm. The mineral resource was done by AMC, mining consultant. Geotechnical and hydrological by Itasca, Chile, mining and infrastructure by AMC mining consultant, and the metallurgy and the processing by Haryard, and the tailing water and the waste management by Newfields Canada Mining and the Environmental ULC, and the environmental and social by Tereta and the Wood, and the financial analysis by AMC. So this is the main contributors. Next slide, please. So the highlight of PEA will be open pit mining with a strip ratio of 3.6 to 1. Processing throughput will be 4 million tons per year. Pre-tax NPV at a 5% discount will be $726 million. with an IRR of 39%. So total payable silver metal produced will be around 171 million ounces of silver over a 14-year mine life. And the most important thing is, the good thing is we have a starter pit with the first 4 years annual payable silver production will be over 15 million ounces of silver. The total capital cost will be $357 million. And the average life of mine operating cash cost will be $8.45 US per ounce. And the total all-in sustaining cost will be US $10.42. Next, please. So for the study, I just review a little bit of base case parameter for Silver Sand PEA. So we've done this total mineralized rock to be mined will be 55.4 million tons. Strip ratios will be 3.6 to 1. Annual throughput will be 4 million tons, will be around 12,000 tons per day. And the head grade will be 107 grams with a silver recovery of 91% and a 40-year mine life. And the first 4 years will be over production will be 15 million ounces of silver. And the silver payable calculation is the recovered silver from the mill, where times 0.99, 99%. The silver price used will be 22.5%, which is the average of an analyst forecast consensus of price. So the key part of this capital the study was capital cost estimate. So our total capital cost estimate, including direct, indirect, and contingency, will be around $327 million, with the initial capital 308, and the key, which include open pit pre-stripping of 18.5 million tons, $47 million, and processing plant will be $186 million, tailings facility will be $25, and the site infrastructure and the $47, and the others cost $21. Just some footnote, right, on the contract, on the capital cost estimate, try to bring your attention to, will be mining, will be contract mining. So based on the study, we need 3 260-ton excavators and 13 140-ton trucks. We contact several mining contractors already. They have existing equipment and are ready to available to work for us. If they want to, if we in a scenario we hire them. And the processing plant equipment and the facility and the tailings facility equipment estimate are based on quotation received globally. And for example, MC just did some same kind of tailings facility construction for El Dorado in their operation in Greece. This 8 million tons, right? 8 million tons a year for same kind of tailings facilities. And the number 3, the site infrastructure, including power and water supply, are based on our local quotations. So a comparison of capital cost. This is some comparison. Recently, there's released something by Alcina's Twin Hill Gold Project, which has a 5 million ton per year open pit, and the CIL operation is very similar process like us. It's a PFS study which has a $375 million. So, which is a 5 million ton a year, we have 4 million ton a year. So if you reduce that by 20%, it's roughly the same. It's very comparable to us. Okay, that's just an independent comparison study. Go to the next slide, please. So here's the project economics for the Silver Sand PEA, right? So we have annual throughput rate. We've gone through that already. Silver price and total payable. So total revenue will be $3.5 billion. And mining cost will be $9.55. Processing cost, including tailing, will be $14.85. G&A 1.86, which is a total 26.26. And because our tailing facility and the dump pit site is very close to our pit, so that's kind of reduced a lot of the trucking cost. And that's the key component for reducing mining cost is the trucking distance. And so our total operating cash cost will be $8.45, and all-in sustaining cost will be $10.42. The payback will be 1.4 years. Pre-tax, post-tax will be almost in 2 years. Accumulated cash flow for the company after tax, pre-tax will be $1.72 billion, and with a post-tax NPV of 726. Next slide, please. So this chart, this table just showing a sensitive analysis of the study. So in the middle, we have 100%. The middle column, there's a 5 column, right? In the middle column, we have 100%, which is the base columns, which has a, if the silver price, mining, operating costs, mining costs, and the total capital cost maintained as the base case scenario, which has 726 and 39% IRR. In the event of silver price drop by 20%, where mining operating costs, processing mining operating costs, and the total capital cost doesn't change, our MPV will be reduced to $398 million. In another extreme case, in the right-hand corner, where your total capital costs increase by 20%, your MPV will be reduced to $678 million. Okay, so that's give you a sense of how sensitive. Looks like the project is more sensitive, like to silver price. Like every other mining company has the same thing related to metal price. Okay. So this is a chart just to lay out our annual production projection, and for year 1 to year 14, which has a 4 million ton, and you can see the first 4 years the silver head grade is 135 gram, right? And which that's really substantially improved the economy of the project. And the lower end is the chart bar chart showing the production of annual silver production. Next slide. So this chart layout showing the site layout and the mining, right? And then you can see from the right-hand chart, the green one is the access road, and which is very wide, big road, and can access to airport, nearby airport. Those purple lines are the pit boundary. You can see the main pit, which has 97% of payable silver come from the main pit, where the rest of the 3 smaller pits come from the 3 smaller satellite pits. You can see that a little bit. So it doesn't mean nothing. The open pit mining will be conventional drilling and blasting, loaded by excavators and hauling by trucks. And the waste is hauled to external and in-pit waste rock dumps. And the pre-production strip will be 18.5 million tons. And every daily throughput will be 12,000 tons mineral rock and 43,000 tons of waste rock. So give you every day we need to move around 54,000 ton material, right? And total 55.4 tons of mineral rock will be produced. Okay, next slide. And then here's some internal mine design. The green line of the road, right? Of the internal trucking road, and then you can see there's a plant where the plant is, plant area, and also you can see there's a waste dump. There's a downstream in the valley, and then there's also we needed to build a water reservoir. There's a big catchment area. If you put a block there, and we would have, if we put a dam there, and then we could build a water catch reservoirs, which may catch over 3 million tons of water a year, and more than enough for us to use. I'll talk about a little bit more next in later on slides. So metallurgy and processing, right? Metallurgy tests were completed by SGS Lima, and a trade-off study of heap leach, of frost flotation, and the sanitation was completed. And with our trade-off study, before we were talking about heap leach. So based on this PEA trade-off study, it's better off to have this tank leach mill, right? So the final flow sheet will be crushed, sack mill and ball mill grinding, and the leach with the cyanide in tanks, and C will be counter current decantation and the zinc precipitation, and the silver dough will be produced on site. And tailing will be then dewatered and dry stacked, and the water will be recycled. And the process plant annual capacity will be 4 million tons. Processed wastewater will be sourced from the surface water dam. We just talked about already. And people may think about Bolivia, in this part of the world, there's a lot of shortages of water. But the good thing is that the water on the other side of the peak, which is Chile and Peru, they are short of waters. But in Bolivia, there's a lot of waters. And you can see next slide. Okay. So before we talk, go back. So before we talk about water, right? And then here's the metallurgy flow sheet, and there's a lot of detail. I don't want to go through that with you guys. And the next slide. I think the metallurgy process will be very conventional, and it's a well-used process. And there's no new technology or new high-tech technology. It's all conventional technology, readily available. So here's the water, right? I think that's the main thing I need to talk to our audience is mine water supply. And from the chart, we can see those are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 10. We'll collect the data from 10 weather stations nearby for the over last 10 years. And the right line would be Calavi Station, which is 5 kilometers away from the project, and with a similar elevation. So the elevation is important, right? And so based on this data we collected, the mean annual rainfall in the last 10 years was 660 millimeters. Right, so this is a lot of water compared to, I think in Vancouver maybe 2,000. The water dam catchment area, we did based on our independent study by Itasca Wood from Peru. They did a measurement and exercise of the water balance. And there will be 5.5 million square meters of a catchment area. At 660 millimeters, which is 0.6 meter annual rainfall, it will catch about 3.6 million ton cubic meter water. So the water will be enough for the mine operation, and some agriculture use, and also we have to discharge some of the water for some agriculture usage downhill from the water dam. The estimated water consumption of the process plant is less than 1 million cubic meters. So we can see this water dam, which is also building included in the cost of capital cost, is more than enough for our metallurgical recovery process. And as a backup, right, the worst case scenario, 8 kilometers downstream from Silver Sand, there's plenty of water from a small river, which is year-round, a lot of water there, because there's a lot of water around. So year-round, it has a lot of water. So water is not a problem for Bolivia. So this concludes our presentation and also our conference call. We'd like to thank you for the attending. We appreciate your participation and interest. Management and other communication team are available for any other question you may have in the future. So now we open for a question. Operator, please.
Thank you. We will now begin the question-answer session. To join the question queue, you may press star, then 1 on your telephone keypad. You will hear a tone acknowledging your request. If you are using a speakerphone, please pick up your handset before pressing any keys. To withdraw your question, please press star, then 2. We will pause for a moment as callers join the queue. The first question comes from Chris Thompson with PI Financial. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Roy. Congratulations. I have, two questions. One relates to the study. I'm kind of surprised to see the low life of mine sustaining capital costs. Can you give us a sense of the breakdown of that?
What do you think to break down? Breakdown. Capital cost breakdown, please. Yeah. So, the key thing is that we don't have mining, right? We don't have a mining cost in here.
So it's the sustaining capital. So that includes no sort of, pre-strip. It is just consumables, et cetera, et cetera. What are the components of that?
Okay, Jason, you can answer a detailed question.
Yeah. Thanks for the question. So, briefly, mining, as we mentioned before, mining will be outsourced to contractors, and maintenance shops, dispatch, and communication system will be contractors' responsibility. And the second thing is the breakdown of the sustained capital. The 20 million sustaining capital is mainly for the ongoing construction of the liner system for the dry stack tailings containment, which would be around $12.2 million over the life of mine, and some allowance for the processing plant and other infrastructure. And we don't anticipate any other major sustaining capital during the life of mine. And the last point is a very major one. It's if you see the production scale, in year 7 and year 8 of the operation, we at the mine we anticipate a major pushback to unlock the ore for the later years, and we plan to expand the cost of the pushback with stripping instead of capitalizing it, because we're going to supply the ore for the processing plant from the stockpile, and go to that production chart. Yeah. Okay. No, just exactly. You can see year 7 and year 8, the grade is slightly lower, and in those 2 years we have more waste stripping as well. But we didn't choose it as a sustaining capital.
We cost that, and also there's 18.5 million because the ore body is such, so it's relatively easy to mine, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's after the first pre-production strip of 18.5 million tons of material being removed. In the future, there's not much more pushback.
Yeah. Other than years 7 and 8.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. And Roy, just maybe quickly talk about the next steps, if you would. What can we anticipate? Maybe touch on timing for the feasibility study I thought you mentioned, as well as the permitting.
The next step, I think this PEA is very important part for our permitting process, because based on Bolivia law, you need to do an environmental impact study report, and for that report, very important part of that is the property descriptions. So this PEA will basically form a base for that report, and now they have a property description already, and so that's the big thing for us, where we'll be working with the community to get a community agreement. It will take some time. We started that process last June, and we are making progress. So by incorporating with the PEA and the community agreement, we will be able to submit to the government a environmental impact study, and hopefully after the review, we'll get a environmental impact statement, which is a environment permit. We have a mining permit already, so with that we'll be able to start to finance and develop the project. And the timeline for that we'll look at a 2023 timeline.
Okay, thank you very much. And then just maybe finally just touch on your relationship with Comibol.
This I think a commingled relationship. It's a kind of it's ongoing and friendly, but the problem is the president changes every 3 months, and then one of our we have an MPC with the key part will be there are two areas, right, which has a big impact for us. One is our land is relatively small. Our majority of the mineral resource are within this our pit. But to expand the mine life, we need a surrounding area for more drilling. So that's very important. And also in the south end of our main pit, we need a little bit easement from the coming boards. That will be part. It was in the part of the MPC, right? And we signed an agreement with them already, a revised one, which gives them more benefit, and their board of directors has approved that. But we need to move forward through the government process, and with the final approval from their parliament, right? So our dream is to hopefully we get that done this year too.
Okay, thank you. And then, so finally, did you say that you're going to try and permit this on the back of the PEA, or do you envisage a feasibility study or PFS?
Actually, we are doing a PFS too. We contract 2 international consulting firms to do this PFS, and hopefully we can get that done soon. As I said, the key thing for the development of this project is the environmental impact study, which require a property description. So we consulted with the Bolivia government. They'll be happy with the PEA, actually.
Great. Okay, Roy, thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you. Great. So next question.
Once again, if you have a question, please press star, then 1. The next question comes from Joseph Rieger with Roth Capital Partners. Please go ahead.
Hey, Rui and team. Thanks for taking the questions, and congrats on the PEA.
Hi, Joe. Thanks.
So just kind of following on prior questions a little bit. If all goes according to plan, what's the target time frame to start construction? I think that's what we were trying to. I think the previous caller is trying to get to, but not directly asking.
Okay, if we got a approval, hopefully by the end of 2023, and I maybe get some money from you guys, and we'll be able to get going in 2024.
Okay, and then it would be like what, an 18-month build?
18 to 24 months. So we will target everything. Because the Bolivia government, this president, he has also a 5-year plan, and this Silver Sand is they want to develop 6 new mines. So this Silver Sand, I haven't seen that report, but I heard from the government official that Silver Sand is part of that 6th project they want to put into production before the end of 2025. Right, but you can see the Bolivia government sometimes doesn't function that quickly or smoothly, and but we are pushing, right?
Yeah, I don't think that's just Bolivia. So, okay, and then what was the tax rate you guys assumed in the model?
The model will be around the 32 because it's based on income tax of 32%, and royalty will be 5%.
Yeah. So the effective tax rate we use is 32.5 since we produce silver doré on site, according to Bolivia.
So that's income tax, and then there's a royalty. There's 6% royalty on top of that, plus 6% royalty, and then 32.5% income tax, and then 13% VAT, But in this case, we're selling silver. There's no VAT, but our cost has VAT.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and then is there any potential that you guys might ultimately change your mind on the contract mining versus your owning your own fleet, or did you guys already do a trade-off study and it just made more sense to use contract?
I think to reduce the capital cost, right? Because there are within Chile, Peru, there's a lot of spare truck and excavator available.
Okay. And then last thing is just, as you guys move this thing into permitting and then potentially construction, should we expect that the majority of the exploration budget will be spent on other projects, or will you guys still be exploring around Silver Sand?
I think Silver Sand, with this PEA, we conclude that before we get a development going, we're not going to spend more money on Silver Sand project. So yeah, right. So we can actually we are converting our exploration team into a mining, permitting, and development team already. We reduced our exploration people there, and so yeah, we're going to focus more on the Triangles project.
Okay. All right, I'll turn it over. Congrats again.
Thank you.
This concludes the question-answer session and today's conference call. You may disconnect your lines. Thank you for participating and have a pleasant day.